Lovely. All right, thank you for the introduction. I appreciate it. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Matteo. I'm a student at University of Kent. I'm doing my final year now, and as this is the final week of the final year as well. Yes, as Phil was saying, hold on, I just want to switch to my laptop. Sorry about this. Okay, there we go. Okay, yes. Can everyone hear me still? Phil?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yep, I can still hear you. Yep.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So thank you. Yes. So I wanted to talk about the experience in terms of Gen AI and being a student, but as well as being in the technology space, in terms of just what's going on in terms of technology, especially specifically focusing on AI. And
Sorry, Matteo, just before you start, I can't actually see you. I
Yes.
can hear you, but I can't see anything on the screen.
Let's see. Oh, there must be something wrong with my camera. Okay, I can switch back to this. Okay.
Great, thank you.
Can? Okay, awesome. So yes, I wanted to speak about the student experience as well as where the AI technology is going and the impact on it in terms of the education sector. So in terms of student experience, every student is using AI, and I've heard us bring up the problem, especially in the questions. What are we doing about those who, for example, Bard? Bard is quite it's not very accurate, and then the difference between ChatGPT 3 and 4 is very noticeable. So students who have an advantage of using GPT-4 will farly outperform by, even if they don't get their prompting right, will still outperform those who are using ChatGPT 3. So that's a huge difference, and it does have implications. So most students have been using ChatGPT, especially the new version. The new version is where you can actually upload documents, upload pictures, upload lecture notes, slides, all sorts of things. Even if some quizzes now have quizzes we take online, they put the graph in an image form in terms of the answers, and to I think it's to prevent in terms of like copy and paste. But students can just download the picture and then just upload it to ChatGPT and you can read it. So so now the new version it's also even makes it more complex to fight against. And in terms of now you can do custom GPTs. So like the previous presenter was showing us how you can you give ChatGPT a tone, but now you can actually go in and train it itself and give it a custom prompt, etc. And basically download your personality in there, a student's personality, doing a final year at this university, at this course, doing this module, and aiming for this target, and want to perform at this level. And here are my lecture notes for the entire semester. So that's quite powerful. And if they get the prompting right, they can hit the target or hit the nail all the time in terms of submitting and everything. So another other things is, we call certain industries like legacy industries, where they have like a strong immune system, meaning that when they're very difficult to change within the domain. So for example, education has a very strong immune system, meaning it's very resistant to any change. And I'd say this one of the strongest immune systems, like the Catholic Church, they're very resistant to change. And now we have a technology that is completely disrupting the educational system, in terms of it's been democratized, it's highly powerful, and we don't know what to do about it, because we make a plan, like let's say OpenAI's ChatGPT released beginning of this year, was quite powerful, but now a couple of months later they released a more powerful one with even more customization and personalized. And then now they're working on GPT-5. What are the implications on that? So it's, for example, technology follows the exponential graph. It doesn't follow a linear graph. So it's a doubling curve. So instead of for example, Moore's law, about every 18 months, technology power doubles. Technology power doubles every 18 months. So it's very hard to contend against that because the power is doubling. So, when I talk to other students, especially like I have friends at like other universities, we discuss like, if our university could, for example, one of the solutions which I think were great was if our university lecturers for the module could teach us how to prompt for the context of our module or that specific lecture, because then we'll have the knowledge of what we're supposed to learn, and then we'll also have the expertise in terms of prompting and how to prompt for, let's say, when we enter the workforce. So that was like, wow, okay, that's like, how can we merge the two instead of like compete? So I think that was a good one, because like, they say that some AI won't replace jobs, but someone using AI will replace someone who's not. So the workforce is going to be people who learn how to prompt and know how to prompt with the knowledge that they have. So that's just like one of the discussions we've had in terms of that. And, obviously, it's no secret that everyone's also using AI to do tests online and quizzes online, etc. So, if there was a suggestion that we introduce like oral tests to test, if you want to test someone's expertise, an oral test is a good way, but yeah, and it has to happen in person, because now Microsoft has released a tool where if it takes 3 seconds of your voice, it can then simulate you saying other words in your accent, in your tone, in everything. So if it's online now, you can just simulate your own voice talking in a meeting, for example, and responding in a meeting. So it's quite interesting to see how the implications of AI will carry on in terms of the higher education and how the response will be. Yeah, I think that's about it from what I'll speak about. Thank you very much for having me, and thanks, Phil, for inviting me.
No problem. I think it's so important to to bring in students in these conversations. We do have one hand up, but just before we go to Tom, Steve, maybe you could give Tom presenter permissions. I was just wondering, as a student, how would you like to see? I know you talked about you'd like to see conveners, module teachers, teaching people how to do prompts, but how would you like to see AI being incorporated into modules? Would you like to see more of it, or is it do you agree that it has to be strategic? I mean, what are your views there?
So my views are that AI is here to stay with us. It's not going anywhere. It's the same way the human race discovered electricity, the same implications it had on humanity. This is the same one AI is going to have. It's going to have a huge implication on humanity. So, students are also afraid that if I don't become an expert in AI, I won't get a certain thing, because someone who just knows how to prompt will be the same as me, having the same knowledge. But just because they have an excellent co-pilot, they can now get the same expertise as a from the AI. So would like to see AI being used more, especially for future jobs. Would like to see how we can, just be a co-pilot, because the nice thing about AI is that it's democratizing access to information, access to expertise, etc. So it'd be nice if we could be a friend with it, especially in class.
Great, thank you. Steve, did you manage to give him permission to unmute his mic?
Which Tom did you need, Phil?
No, there was someone called Tim, I think, but I've Mike, I've just allowed you to unmute your mic, Mike Wald. Would you like to ask a question?
We've got Tim Finch.
Mike, you have your hand up there. Would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, I think it's just muted, isn't it?
Okay, so we have one question here in the chat from Joshua. So he said, Matteo, thank you. I'm curious about the psychological effect of all these new powerful tools for students. Is it all positive or are there negatives too? I know that some pro-tech folk who use these tools a lot describe a sense of vertigo from the pace of change. I think that's a good comment. And all of the new possibilities for how we interact with knowledge. I was just wondering if you had any thoughts around that.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's mixed. It's both fear from like our amygdala, for example, in our brain. You know, the fear thing that kept us alive back in the day. It's been, you know, you see all these breakthroughs all over the news: AI, robotics, 3D, so many happening at once that our amygdala is acting up. So we see that happening. You'll see that it's mainly tech people who get excited from it. But then the non-tech people get afraid because they don't know the implications. So it seems to be that's what's happening in terms of the fear and then the excitement from either if you're in tech or you're not. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. I think it's important to know that. And I think that's where institutions have to kind of really try and help people there by kind of providing kind of guidance, walking people through, providing opportunities for people to ask questions, and also in a way that makes those kind of teachers not feel kind of inadequate, because I think if you don't know about these, I think it can be quite daunting. So I think that's quite important as well. So yeah. Okay, so right. If we don't have any other questions.
Sorry, just quickly, my mic has only just been really unmuted. First time I could click. My point is there an existential threat to universities? Why spend 3 years at universities when you're not going to really learn the latest technology, when you can learn just with the AI? And why should an employer employ a graduate where they could employ a young kid or a young person who learns to co-pilot? It's a bit like the games thing. Kids can use, can pilot space shuttles. Nobody would send a kid up because haven't got the wisdom, but in terms of control and using technology. So I'll be interested from Matteo's point of view. What's the point of going to university when your teachers can't really teach you? The AI is going to change so fast. Why would employers employ you when they can employ a younger person who's much more proficient? Will people go to university?
That's an excellent question. The AI has democratized information and access to information. So what universities had the advantage of was having expert information that they can disseminate through teachings. But now what happens when that information is now democratized and anyone with access to internet and anyone with access to AI, which in the future will have AI as a service, where anyone with 6G connection will have access to powerful AI systems. Now anyone with AI can now have the same access to expertise and information that the universities used to have, that they used to disseminate in classes. So it's more like the universities have to change their model, because they're being disrupted. It's a complete disruption of the sector, and they have no choice but to change their model. I remember reading about.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's choice paying a few dollars for access to ChatGPT 5 or paying $9,000 a year for a university. How will students pay the money?
Exactly. Especially as the price of technology goes down and the computing power of technology goes up. So it's only going to get cheaper and more powerful. Yet universities, like I'm an international student, it's quite expensive. It's very expensive. If I could just take a course on prompting, I could get the best expertise just from using AI. So the universities have to respond. They have no choice otherwise. Like Harvard, for example, was considering. I remember reading a paper. Harvard is considering changing to a subscription-based model, where now you subscribe for like a lifetime. Like you just pay monthly and you get the the new information that keeps coming out. For example, the perfect actually university model, which has worked so far, is Singularity University. Singularity University updates their curriculum every 16 months because that's the pace at which technology power doubles also. So they're always up to date with the latest information. And so that they're also trying to adjust to this new breakthrough in AIs and other technologies. You know, when VR comes and AR comes, it's gonna,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
then the intersect with AI, it's gonna.
Khan
process.
Academy has added AI as well.
Yeah, I mean, on Khan Academy, you can talk to Aristotle. You know, imagine learning from Aristotle or physics from Albert Einstein. You know, the digital AI avatars now.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. I think we're going to have to stop there. We could probably keep this conversation going for a couple of hours quite easily, kind of on this one. But it's I think it's great to have your viewpoint there, Matteo. So thank you, and thank you to everyone kind of who's engaging with Matteo in the chat as well. So it's great. Thank you.